Welcome to another installment of 5-Minute Tones. On today's video, we're going to take a look at the Nobelium OVD-1 drive block model. This is based on the Nobels ODR-1, also known as the other green drive pedal or the Nashville drive pedal, because the originals are green. They're definitely not a Tube Screamer derivative, and they have become the weapon of choice for guitar players playing country, pop, rock, all sorts of different styles, beloved by guys like John Shanks, Tim Pierce, and Tom Bukovac. So let's take a look at the model in here. We've got controls for drive, spectrum, and level, just like the real pedal. The original versions of the ODR-1 didn't have the bass cut switch that the new versions have. So if you just leave bass response where it is at the stock value, you're going to be getting the sound of the original pedal. If you bring this down to 1, that will emulate the bass cut switch. One cool thing about this being a knob is that you can turn it up or you can turn it down, so you can get sounds that the original pedals don't. As a starting point, I'm going to use the Brit JM45. I'm using my free cab IR over here, LT-TV Mix 7, low cut at 80 Hz, high cut at 6500 Hz, and a little bit of the London plate, the old mate, in there. Let's have a listen to the starting point. Great sounding overdrive with single coils. I can see why it's kind of considered the Nashville drive if you're playing a Strat or a Tele. It fattens up the sound in a really lovely way without pulling all the low end out of the sound like a Tube Screamer can. And you could hear at those high drive settings on there, it does get a little bit distorted and fuzzy. If you're using this with humbuckers, can get a little bit flubby, which is where this bass response switch comes in. Let's hear it with some humbuckers, and I'll bring the bass response down to 1 to mimic that bass cut on the newer ODR-1. In general, this works really, really well with chimey sounding amps. We heard the JTM45 was on that edge of breakup. It was nice and fat. Another one I like this with is the AC20 12AX7 treble. I'm on the split pickup mode now. With the AC20 and those low drive settings, it just works as an all-around tone enhancer and sweetener. It's adding some smoothness, some fatness, and it just makes everything nicer to play. Furthermore, if you want to use it as an always-on overdrive, it cleans up pretty well with the guitar volume control. That's all for today's video. I'd love to know your thoughts on the ODR-1 in the Axe-Fx and FM9, and I'd love to know how you're using it. If you dig what I'm doing here on the channel, my Patreon and the music I make with my band Ragdoll is linked in the video description. I will play you all out running the ODR-1 model into a really high gain amp because I have to. See you next time.